Clive Barker Podcast, audio commentaries.
Thanks to your generous donations to our Kickstarter funding campaign,
Clive Barker Podcast presents Fundraiser 9.
Celebrations!
Welcome. This is episode 362 of the Clive Barker Podcast. We're returning to the A-Z Commentaries with the Tingler. And good evening, Jose.
Hi, Ryan. Hey, it's nice to do another movie commentary. We got some special guests again, right?
Yeah. Welcome back. We've got Ed Martinez and Nina. Arlene.
Hello.
Hello.
This is Ed Martinez, the blind podcaster from the San Francisco Bay Area. This is the sound of my voice.
And this is Nina, and this is the sound of my voice.
All right.
We got the Coenobium crew joining again with the
That's
Clive
right.
Barker Podcast, and we got a treat for you guys tonight. We got William Castle's The Tingler, one of the movies selected by Clive Barker for the A through Z of horror. What's that letter, Ryan?
We're on the letter X for Xploitation, which is a little bit that's a little bit of a cheat, but we'll let it slide.
Right. Who has watched the William Castle movie on a theater?
Me?
You managed to watch one? What?
Many. Yeah, because I was a projectionist.
Oh,
And,
really?
I go back to the 80s.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah.
And, I've been at a lot of conventions where... did you find out that there was a film William Castle made called Zots, with a Z, Z-O-T, Zots?
No.
Oh, like the candy?
No, it's
No.
there was a coin. It had a gold metallic coin that you would get as the gimmick for that particular film.
Oh.
But I was even at a convention once where we were screening that film and they gave out duplicate copies of those coins. So I even have one of those.
That's cool. I started watching The Tingler for this to prepare, and then I fell into the William Castle rabbit hole. And so I ended up watching The Tingler, and then after that I watched 13 Ghosts. After that I watched Mr. Sardonicus, and then I started watching, I haven't really finished it, it was Nightwalker. It's about a blind guy who dies in an explosion, and then his wife keeps hearing his tip-tap of the cane in the middle of the night. So not the best director. They're kind of schlocky. They're pure schlock, right? But I'll be darned if they aren't entertaining movies.
Yeah.
Made a lot of money.
This was my first William Castle movie that I've seen, and I just saw it a couple of days ago for the first
Except
time.
for
You guys never saw these on old horror TV shows and stuff?
I've watched House on Haunted Hill.
That's a great one.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, then I have seen that.
Yeah.
House on Haunted Hill is the exterior location is in Los Angeles. It's the famous Frank Lloyd Wright Ennis house. And, in Blade Runner, they have those Ennis house bricks, like tiles in Deckard's house.
Right.
And I have a copy of one of those Ennis house tiles.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
The Ennis house just got back on the market.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. I posted about it the other day. I think they were asking for $23 million.
It was only the exterior. Once they go to the start of the film, it's all interior sets.
Sure, yeah, sets. Yeah.
This is one of those movies where the gimmick kind of I guess you'd say that the gimmick makes this movie famous. So I knew about it before even seeing it, just because of the thing about the buzzers in the seats and stuff. And and now having seen the movie, you can really see how they worked that into the plot of the movie.
Right.
Yeah,
It's like it takes place over in a movie theater in part.
And if you know the gimmick from all the other ones, you can see how those would fit in too. Like on House on Haunted Hill, there's a skeleton that comes up out of the floor of an acid vat, and that's skeleton would emerge out over the audience, suspended like 6 or 8 feet above your heads, and it became, like another one of the gimmicks.
Dripping acid on your upturned face.
That was the Emergo, and kids at some point would start taking slingshots into the theater and start taking pot shots at the skeleton.
And soda bottles and popcorn boxes.
Yeah, and the Tingler had filmed in Percepto. So Percepto was the one that had these little military surplus airplane wing de-icers, and they installed on some seats, which when we start the movie, you'll see him say, some people are more susceptible than others. And
Depending on where you're sitting.
John Waters, the director, he recalled in an interview once that he was very inspired by William Castle. In fact, whenever he went to see the Tingler, he would go into the theater. If he could get in there a few minutes early, he would go into the room, see which seats had the buzzer, and then he would sit on those so he could get the full experience.
Right. Also, he became such an exploitation type film director himself that he even released a film that, I saw in the movie theaters here in my town, and it was called Polyester, and they had a scratch and sniff card where things would appear on the screen, and you would scratch the card. I mean, it was disgusting. There was like fart and barf.
Sarah told me about that the other day. We were talking about Roger Waters because she wanted to watch Female Trouble, and she was telling me about that. That's hilarious. And of course, he filmed Pink Flamingos in dog shitto.
Yep. Roger Waters still has an apartment here in San Francisco, and he comes here all the time for book signings. And Divine lived here too. That's why they San Francisco gay capital. So.
Well, should we start?
Yeah. So I'm paused right before the Columbia statue lady.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Me too. So, Ed, since you're back with Nina, would you like to do the honors to do the countdown so we can hit play and get all synced up?
Oh, let Nina do the honors.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, play.
There we go. I never get tired of seeing Lady Columbia.
Net bending.
And this would kind of catch the audiences a little bit like Dr. Van Helsing at the beginning of Dracula, right?
Oh, it's funny too. It looks like he's standing in front of a movie screen.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he would go and be in almost every one of the films. He wanted to be like Hitchcock. He wanted to become a personality.
Yeah, when he made his first movie called Macabre, he mortgaged his house. And then he would hire a hearse and fake nurses with stretchers. And his first movie, Macabre, he offered patrons of the screenings a $1,000 life insurance policy if they died of fright watching the movie.
That's how much their life is worth.
And of course, he's introducing the Emergo.
Yeah.
Let her rip, guys.
Yep. Doing all his suggestion.
Yeah.
And I say suggestion.
Fart for your lives.
Oh. My favorite line in this movie was, "Do not panic. Scream for your lives."
Oh my God, this is so loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching this and I guess I'm going to use headphones now.
And this is a heck of an opening right here because, what do you know? This guy's on death row.
Yeah.
Doesn't get scarier than that, right?
Yeah.
A William Castle production.
So if this thing was attached to your spine, every time you get scared, your spine should be bulging out.
No, it starts microscopic and grows.
Yeah,
but when they're scared, then it gets big, right?
Yeah.
Well, it would break your back.
Apparently,
It would kill people by snapping their spine.
Yeah, but you should be able to see their backs bulging out when they're getting scared.
One would think doctors might have found it earlier.
Yeah, I know.
Well, one of the things that I remembered later was... and this movie was written by Rob White, with whom William Castle wrote and made a lot of movies with. And the music by Don Dexter is really awesome, too. But one of the things I was going to say is that when the guy is being carried off to the electric chair, he's his feet are dragging, his legs aren't working. We usually say, oh, he's too scared. His legs don't work. But it's now with the Tingler, you could argue, no, his legs don't work because his spine is being controlled,
Yeah.
He's got a shattered spine.
The Tinglers got him.
I think the volts. It was the amps that got him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, of course-
Another thing another thing you have to suspend your disbelief on is that screaming at them for some reason makes them go away.
You're right. They just fall on the floor.
Yeah. Or I guess if they're still in your body, they'd shrink back down again.
They look so serious. They're playing it so straight.
Yeah.
So yeah, Vincent Price, he's had a great storied career.
Yeah.
Yeah, give that a try. Tell me how it feels.
Yeah.
So it's like we know what the cause of death is. I mean,
Yeah. I wonder if that's true. If they really have to do an autopsy and figure out the cause of death from during an execution.
I think it's more to make sure that the guy's dead. Let's crack open his skull and give him
Yeah.
an autopsy.
Make sure he doesn't escape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Shocker.
So this guy.
I think later in the movie, he's a little hasty with the later autopsy.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Very hasty.
Well, he does
This guy-
so many unethical things, it's not even funny.
I know. Yeah. And I thought, like, at first he's sympathetic, and then it seems like he's a villain. But then by the end again, he's not a villain anymore.
He's a scientist.
Yeah.
Scientists have no morals.
They just said the Tingler. Cue credits.
Yeah.
That's the name of the movie.
It's not easy doing science all day.
Being the wife of a scientist.
Hey, but at least he's a classy pathologist because he's got a tie on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how the personality of his wife and he, the way they interact together. It's like, wow, that
Yeah.
is so.
She doesn't like being a scientist's wife.
Two out of the three couples in this movie have really terrible relationships.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's true.
poor Dave.
Yeah.
He can't get a break.
Yeah.
Talking about the tensions in the body. I too have tensions that are unmet. TMI.
Yeah, I mean, Vincent Price was a very sophisticated, erudite man in real life and everything, and there's a lot of subtext to his
Yeah.
performance.
Sure. He's very nonchalant about all this. He's that's one of the things I notice about a lot of characters in William Castle movies since I've saw quite a few. They're all kind of like they have a good side, but sometimes also have like a kind of a mean streak or a like less ethical side. Even the good characters in the movie.
Yeah, that's like real life, like real people.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, the young couple, they don't have any kind of mean streak to them.
Right. She's so sweet.
Yeah.
Except for the animal experimentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go out and catch me a cat.
Yeah, right. And it could be some person's pet.
Exactly. And the dog. We never see the dog, but there's a dog. What was he planning?
Yeah.
The
I like
dog never
that.
makes it out of the car, thank God. But that's later in the movie. We'll talk
Silent
about-
movies now showing Tolerable David. So that's a 1921 movie that they're playing in this little theater. Actually, it was a big hit at the time in
Silent
1921.
film. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was because they got, William Castle somehow could use the rights and show it
Hey.
on his film.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like he had distribution rights, or was in the public domain more
Might have
likely.
been public domain by then already.
I like that this guy says there's not a lot of theaters left. Well, definitely true in the 21st century.
Well, at that
Oh,
time,
yeah.
television had taken over, really. People were really hard
Right.
pressed to get him in the theaters. That's why he invented all these Perceptos and all this stuff.
It seems like
Yeah.
every generation there's something that's going to kill the theater.
Yep. Unless they bring it up in its quality and stuff and make it relevant again, like Sense Surround and 3D and like
IMAX.
Yeah, and the new avatars.
Hey,
Right.
Ernest movies almost killed cinema.
The Ernest movies?
Just joking. I'm just
Oh, the
joking.
Mean Girl?
Ryan loves those.
I'm just joking. But yeah, now it's streaming, right? Now it's the streaming platforms, and now it's like a movie's in the theaters, and like 21 days later, you can find it on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can find this movie on Paramount Plus, because this is
No.
Paramount.
I
No?
checked.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to pay to rent or download it. You can't get it free with any kind of subscription.
Oh, what a ripoff.
I know.
They remade many of William Castle's films. His daughter is still with us, and she was the one, running around and negotiating to make the deals to make the remakes. But I don't think they ever negotiated to make the Tingler. I don't know if she has the rights to that one.
Hear me out. Tingler remake with David Cronenberg. Now that's something I like.
Body horror.
That's
a good idea.
It
Body
is a body horror movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
one of the first.
Super early, yeah.
I mean, this is still the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, late 50s, right. 1959. Yeah, his wife is, according to his words, deaf and dumb,
Yeah.
and so she can't scream. She doesn't speak. She has
Yeah.
no vocal cords.
That's the bizarre part. Like, most deaf people can't talk because they can't hear their own voice, not because their vocal cords are gone.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know.
that's-
There's a lot of
yeah.
misinformation in this thing.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And your gestures are a language of their own.
Yeah.
Let's not
Yeah,
sense
that's
check
not-
the Tingler. Yeah.
That's not American Sign Language.
They-
And back when double-breasted suits had huge lapels.
oh yeah.
Those things
Oh
are
yeah,
huge.
she looks like she's wadding up a piece of paper with her sign language.
Talk about the dresses.
She's a germaphobe.
It's Vincent Price's wife.
Yeah, she's like,
It doesn't matter.
this is a little awkward part here, but I don't even know. I wonder if anybody that's watching this movie, listening to us, if you are seeing the hand signaling, is that American?
Well, yeah,
hand
that's what
signal?
Nina was
No,
saying.
no,
That
that's
it's just made up.
gobbledygook.
Oh, okay. It's just made up. Okay. It does look made up. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, it's like that. Do you remember when that guy did Behind Obama, where he wasn't really a sign language guy?
I
No.
remember. It was,
Yeah,
yeah, it was totally
in.
fake.
Yeah, and they were like, "How did he get in?"
Yeah,
How
and
did he
it's
get the
not.
job?
That must have been the fault of the TV station, right? He wasn't part of the administration
He
or
was doing
anything.
some kind of an event, and the guy just slipped into the event.
He was a ninja.
He just crashed it.
Oh no!
Oh, she sees blood on his
Yeah.
hand. Ah.
That's a really similar place to where Larry got cut in Hellraiser.
So from the nail,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that part of the hand.
the back of the hand.
It's just a tiny little thing. It's just like when Larry cuts his finger in Hellraiser.
Yeah.
That was a big gash, though. He got a lot of blood upstairs
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah.
He
But
needed
did this
stitches.
was the coffee cup got broken? Is that how it happened?
Yes. He
yeah,
dropped
yeah.
the saucer and it broke. Hmm. I also remember a fake interpreter. I think that might have been what you were remembering. But it was a guy at the Nelson Mandela Memorial or something. There was a
That
fake
might have
interpreter.
been it. Yeah, and he wasn't really with the organization. He wasn't really an interpreter.
Give her some smelling salts.
Yeah.
She's coming too. That house looks just like my grandmother would have.
The economy in the sets is amazing. I mean, this is the above the movie theater, and the other location is, the laboratory and, his living room with his wife and stuff. It's
Yeah.
like, other than the outside with the car, that's about the only couple sets in the whole movie.
Good
Sure.
point. Yeah. There's hardly any outdoor shots at all. Yeah, this is our first hint that she's got a problem with her husband, that as soon as she wakes up, she has to check the safe. She should just change the combination on the safe.
I think she was bringing up the profits of the day because she put some money in there and then she washed her hands.
Yeah.
What was that, Nina?
Well, Ed was mentioning that she doesn't actually give her husband the combination in a scene, but he does open it at the end. So
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also a scene where Dave and the young lady get inside the room after Vincent Price shot himself up with the drug, and it's like, we got in here somehow. It's like they were locked out before.
We'll get to that.
At this point, Vincent Price still feels like, he's just such a nice guy, such a gentle, polite young man. And then as soon as he gets home and he talks to his assistant about the lady, he's like, that lady can't scream, so it'd be great to scare her and see if we can find a Tingler.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And then the movie leads you to believe that he actually does.
Well, he tried to. He did his best.
Well, he had all those props, and he had like a zombie mask and stuff.
Yeah, but it turned out
that's
that
the husband.
The husband did it.
His devoted wife.
In fact, I thought to myself later, when I saw the movie for the first time, I thought, how did he have all that stuff prepared? Like right before Vincent Price met him, like he went to go visit Vincent Price in the autopsy lab, and they become buddies. And it's like, how did he get to the autopsy lab when he says, "Can I get a ride home with you?" It's like
the guy who was being executed was his wife's brother.
Yeah, but
right.
But Ed is saying, how did he get there if he needs a ride home?
Took an Uber.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could have taken a taxi and was too stingy to pay for the taxi home.
Right, but I mean, we're filling in the blanks for them.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah. I bet it's true because they live above their theater where they work. Maybe they don't own a car.
Maybe he walked there.
Off the shoulder number with her pearls.
Yeah. Everybody's dressed to the nines in this movie.
To puff up her dress.
Vincent Price is always immaculate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And that set is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, William Castle knew what to do with black and white. It was very simplistic, good lighting, lots of dark shadows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember when I was watching this, I was thinking, how does he have a house like that on a coroner's salary? And then it's like, we're going to find out, it's his wife's dad that has all the money.
Fiancé.
Yeah.
No, his wife. He's actually married.
Right. But in Young Frankenstein, he called her his fiancé. Fiancé.
Right. Good callback.
And what's crazy to me, too, is that she fully funded everything. She even pays his assistant's salary,
Yeah.
His brother or sister.
I think they overlook a little bit his doctor's salary in this, but sure.
But she won't even give her own sister part of the inheritance.
Yeah.
That's a matter for Judge Judy.
Just wants to control it.
It does
Take him
sound
to
like
court.
Yeah, it does sound like a people's court kind of a thing.
Judge Judy, my sister's a bitch. So, yeah, his wife likes to party, but his wife looks like freaking Princess Carolina of Monaco. It's Vincent Price is a really hot woman, but too bad that their relationship is pretty much non-existent.
Yeah. She's with so many other men.
Yeah.
I mean, he comes home one time and finds like a cufflink. Like a tie clip on the table.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
I mean, red flag.
Well, he actually asks her, "Why do I always hear the back door once I come in?" She's like, "I don't know."
Yeah, why does the back door close when the front door opens?
Yeah. Her response to all that is interesting too, because she just is like, she doesn't care. She doesn't care. She doesn't even care enough to make a good lie. It's just like, I don't know, maybe you're hearing things or whatever.
Yeah, there's absolutely no pretension. She just says, "I don't care."
It's like that country song. It's like that country song. How come I hear you say, "Here I am," and then I hear the back door slam? That ain't nobody's business but my own.
There's an old blues song too about being your backdoor man.
Oh, that okay.
No, it means he runs out the back door.
Right.
No, it doesn't, Ed. Oh, it means he runs out the back door.
So he's explaining that because the woman can't scream when she saw the sight of blood, she got so terrified that the tensions could not be released, so she had a somatic blackout. And they're like, "That's fascinating. We should scare her and see what happens."
So when he says he's injecting her with a sedative, is he actually giving her that weird drug thing that makes her have nightmares?
Acid. He's giving her acid.
Yeah, that's a question I asked myself because I was like, wait, so he's
it's
saying,
for sure. He definitely is.
Yeah, we'll get to that. And this is probably the first movie that they ever mention acid, LSD. And it's probably the first movie that someone trips on LSD.
They do call it acid, and I believe it is LSD.
Well, the package says lysergic acid.
Yeah, that's what. So I was wondering if it was like
dimethylamine.
They said it's not medicine, that's acid, and it made me think like is like real acid.
Yeah, like car battery acid.
Yeah, exactly.
Or carbolic acid.
I mean, the first thing
your arm's gonna melt off.
When he brings that in, they this might be a little hard to catch, but it says lysergic acid, and if you know anything about that,
you can actually see that.
Yeah, you can.
If you know it, well, I don't. What does lysergic acid mean?
It's LSD.
Oh, okay.
The initials. You know what else though is interesting is they were going to shoot the cat up, or didn't they shoot the cat up with it?
No, I don't think so.
I think the cat didn't. The cat run away, or
It's in a cage.
Oh, that's right. They do have the cat.
Injection of lysergic acid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is. Yep. Everybody knows that stands for Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
It's lysergic acid diethylamide.
Dimethylide, yeah.
Yeah.
What's funny too, though, is how would they ever get away with this cruelty to animals stuff? Look what Hellraiser had to go through just for the rats.
Yeah.
It was 1959.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, there's really no cruelty to animals displayed on the film that I could notice.
Yeah, but even if it's even a hint at, these days.
Well, as long as no animal's being harmed, I think you can, mimic, with fake animals and stuff. You can do that, like Clive Barker did with the rats.
That would have cost a fortune. Yeah. But in this film, they do have a cat in a cage, as I recall, and they menace it because I believe it's going and stuff.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Here comes the wife.
Why do we have to talk about it when it's on screen?
Because we have to talk about her fur and her beautiful dress.
Yeah.
With its metallic sheen.
I know. Look at that dress. She's super hot.
She takes off her shoes to be quiet.
Is that Edith Head or?
We've all been there, taking off our shoes.
I'm guessing.
He catches her on the stairs.
Who's that? Jackie
Coco Chanel.
And look at her wonderful accent necklace right there. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, he says feed her, and she says mad. He's feeding her excuses to use.
I think her costumes were probably one of the more expensive things because William Castle realized, we have to sell the fact that she's a rich lady,
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she looks like Princess Caroline of Monaco almost.
Mm-hmm.
Grace Kelly, right? Wait, no, not Princess, Princess, not Caroline. Princess Grace Kelly
could have played this part.
One in all the Hitchcock films.
Cool blonde. He liked him a cool blonde.
So I'm curious who did it first, like the whole shtick of the director coming in before the movie and talking to the audience. If it was
Hitchcock.
Was it he that did that first? So William Castle was mimicking that.
Yes. One of the first films William Castle made was Homicidal, which was a direct imitation of Psycho.
Oh.
Okay.
And the other thing about it too is the fact that, Hitchcock started the whole trend of don't tell anybody about the ending, and we won't let you in once the film has started. And so, the tricks that Hitchcock used for Psycho. And Psycho was a black and white movie, even though it was the color era. I mean, Hitchcock had already made, all kinds of, full color films with Cary Grant and stuff. So, to go back to black and white and to use those gimmicks, that's where William Castle said, aha.
Right. So I just want to bring up the crescendo of Vincent Price here, but when he first looks kind of sad after he grabbed the gun and walks over to the parlor, and then he's trying to be kind of nice but a little tired, and then he just starts becoming meaner and more cold and calculating as it goes along.
Yeah.
Just like now when he says sit down anyway, and the music makes a stinger, and it's like, oh, he means business now.
Yeah, I love his performance because this whole sequence is not real, and when he's performing it, the audience is completely buying that he's about to murder her.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
I was in the first time I saw this, yeah. I was like, that escalated quickly.
Yeah.
Well, he was supposedly staring at her while she was making out with some guy down on the street before she came upstairs.
Yeah.
Right. And then she says something about, you're a scientist. Isn't that what they call you? And it's like, I think there's a few words for what they call you. I was like, ooh, burn.
Ouch. Yeah. Burn.
She does make a good point about providing all of the money.
Yeah. But I mean, he is a brilliant scientist, and so, it's a good investment.
And now
And,
he's implying that she killed her father to get his money. Or
Right.
She killed her father, I mean.
Right.
That sounds very plausible because she changes her demeanor pretty dramatically.
Yep. Yeah, I totally believe that.
He says that poisons never disappear. They just smolder in the grave.
Right.
So he's
In other words,
he's threatening to dig up her dead father and try to figure out if he was poisoned or not.
and he says, "I'm very good at autopsies."
Yeah.
This is a very well written scene. Too well written for this movie. I think the third act of this movie just kind of falls apart a bit, but yeah.
Well, it's all to get to the gimmick, you know.
Right, yeah.
The nightmare stuff is pretty surprisingly horrific for a 1959 movie.
And very well done, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
the blood is red and stuff.
Yeah, that really surprised me.
So they're in the lab right now, and he's got quite a pretty well-equipped lab downstairs.
Yeah, the best that money can buy, according to his wife.
He even has an X-ray machine down there.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a fluoroscope. It's a fluoroscope machine.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, I actually had experience with a project with that. I had to do a commercial. Remember the book Bordello of Blood project?
Yeah.
You know, we did.
Yeah.
The guy that did the special effects for that, Todd Masters, I worked on a commercial with him here in San Francisco where we were all hired to recreate what looks like fluoroscope footage. But fluoroscope footage would kill you. It was x-rays that would just, you know, give you cancer and stuff. So they had to phase it out at a certain point. And, you know, we were given footage like from National Geographic to emulate where we duplicated what that looks like, only with rubber and plastic bones and stuff.
Yeah, well, with this one, he actually takes X-ray plates and then he shows them to his assistant. That's when he see the tingler on the back vertebrae of his wife. And here we go. The money shot.
She tries to get to the door.
Yep. Very slowly. Bang. I like how she grabs her stomach and falls down like she actually got shot. She really sells it.
Yeah.
I've been hit by a blank, and there is a wad of paper and wax that comes out if you're a little too close, and it stings.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. I got like a little welt because I was only wearing a T-shirt.
Jeepers. Was
but
it point blank or something?
Yeah, it was pretty close.
How did he know she was going to pass out from being, you know, thinking she got shot, though? I don't
guess
think
he,
it's 100% chance that's gonna happen.
Yeah. I think he gambled on that one.
Yeah.
I think he was hoping she would be frightened so he could get a Tingler out of her.
Yeah, maybe so.
Well, he's doing a Tingler portrait.
Yeah.
He's taking the plate right now.
That's what he should have done, is set up a Tingler portrait studio.
And
Come in,
yeah.
Each of us get the hell scared out of us and our picture of a Tingler on our back.
I was thinking the Tingler's sculpt is actually pretty good. I was thinking not hard to do if someone would like to make a Tingler sculpt.
Yeah.
I think
Actually, I have one.
You do?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
actually, it was ironic. One of our one of our Coenobium contributors, a guy by the name of Steve Goodrich, sculpted it and cast it in like ceramic clay and sent it to me.
Well,
That's so cool.
We'll try to take some photos for the.
Oh, that'd be great.
I never got around to painting it. It's still unpainted.
Yeah, what would you paint it like? Like browns,
I try to make it
dark
look
browns,
veiny. I would try to make it look veiny and translucent, like
Uh-huh.
you can partially see through it, you know.
Oh, there's the kitty cat.
In fact, I was thinking for the actual prop for the movie, you know, this is the 50s, and back in the day, even when they made like the Wizard of Oz, they had materials. They had foam latex. They had, you know, regular latex too for like standard Halloween masks. But there was another, you know, material like gelatin, and all of those could have been what they used. I don't know what they used, but you know, it kind of wiggles around, and Vincent Price does the puppeting himself, really.
Sure. So it's funny. I'm seeing Vincent Price with a black cat, and there's a black cat on my lap. And of course, Vincent Price was in the Black Cat.
Is that one Lucifer or Satan?
Lucifer. Yes, Lucy. Yep.
Beelzebub?
See, this is where he says there's a dog in the car. You don't see the dog in the car.
My
Yeah,
familiar.
saving money. William Castle saving money.
Hey, if you don't have to show it, you know.
Yep. Just suggest it.
So he's going to show him the plates now with the Tingler. And yes, you're right, Ryan. Why wouldn't it bulge on the back? I always thought of the Tingler as more of a, you know, like what's that movie From Beyond? I always thought of the Tingler as more like an interdimensional creature, like From Beyond, like those creatures would appear.
Right.
Yeah, because you can't destroy
like they're not
it.
necessarily in our universe.
Right.
Yeah, and you can't destroy it because it's, you know.
No, but
He
it's a
tries.
physical thing. I mean, it grows from a cell or whatever, and
Yeah.
you know, it becomes big. I mean, it's the size of like from your elbow to your wrist at least.
But then when you scream it, I guess it shrinks back down again.
Right. And
Yeah,
disappears.
it loses. It becomes weaker, right? It becomes weaker, and
Basically dies.
When you release the tension.
So it dies, but then if you get scared again, you get a new Tingler?
Right. Right.
Oh, okay.
I think it just saps his energy for a bit because.
And if you die while you're, you know, got the Tingler on you or whatever, like he can extract it from your body.
And then hopefully when he puts it back into the host, as it's attached to a dead thing, it would also die or shrink back to nothing.
Right, because I mean, this is like a huge development in science, and he's willing to just put it back in the body and forget about it. You know?
Yeah.
Well, he admits it himself. He broke a lot of ethics to get to that point. That's why he's like, nah, I'm not going to publish anything because I can't. Of course, that's just for the sake of the story. But you know, as the concept goes, it's a pretty interesting concept. I mean, obviously, it doesn't hold up to any sort of scrutiny for more than a couple of seconds. But I like that they got the idea for the tingling on your back. It's not really a tingle. It's more like a chill.
Well, I like how they came up with the name, the Tingler, in the very first scene. The guy comes in and he's saying, like, you know how sometimes you get a chill if you're like a tingle, you know, and he's like, that Tingler, that's what we'll call it. You know?
Yeah. Well, and plus there was a thing that tingles on your theater seat while you're watching the movie.
Right, but I'm just saying about the dialogue in the opening scene of Vincent Price and that guy. You know?
Oral Annie and Ron Hardwood in The Tingler. Come on, don't tell me you guys didn't think that this would be a great porn movie title.
Yeah, I'm sure there's been lots of phallic jokes about the Tingler.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a cool design, actually. It's simple. It's got little tentacles, you know.
Yeah. Nowadays it would be much more graphic. That thing would rip out of the body probably, and it would have like claws on the little feet.
It does have claws of the one, you know, it's a duplicate of an actual, you know, frame reproduction so that you can make sure it's accurate. And it's got kind of like a pincers up at the front.
Oh yeah, I know those, the big pincers in the front.
And
it's almost like an earwig.
If they made this movie today, I think Vincent Price's character would find all the men that the wife was cheating on him with, and murder them all and take all the Tinglers out of all of them, and he'd have an army of Tinglers.
Use this Tingler to kill them all.
Yeah,
he'd have a bunch of little leashes with 5 or 10 Tinglers in front of it, driving forward like hound dogs.
Yeah, a chariot.
Or put no, that's too much. I'm not going to say that. The Tingler is loose on this podcast. Scream, scream for your lives.
Yeah. Don't panic, though.
Don't panic. It's funny because
takes the mansplaining posture.
Oh yeah, he's got the foot on the coffee table. Like, dude, with your shoes. Yeah. Really? You're putting your shoes on the coffee table? Come on, man.
Well, his wife paid for it.
Right.
Like, fuck your couch. Oh, boy. Anyway. I want to sense the power of the Tingler. And I like the part where he's saying, like, yeah, I'm too grown up. I can't scare myself. It's like, I'm not afraid of anything.
Unless I fall off a building or get hit by a car. Or
yeah. Just casually throwing that out there. So he's going to give himself a bad trip, old buddy.
Have you seen the guy on Saturday Night Live, you know, back in the day that was doing a really good Vincent Price imitation?
Oh, yeah. Bill Hader, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
He did a bunch of them. He did a Christmas special, a Halloween special.
Yeah, he was hilarious.
I found a podcast episode of Harmontown, which is a podcast I listen to, where Gilbert Gottfried also did an impression of Vincent Price. And yes, it is surprisingly close.
I thought Gilbert Gottfried only had one voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard like Gilbert Gottfried's real voice on the phone? There's like a voicemail that left on a producer's phone that made it to YouTube, and most people are like, I thought that was his real voice. No, that's not.
Well, he can talk normal. I've heard him on podcasts and stuff.
Yeah, he had his huge, magnificent, whatever podcast, but that's just his shtick, you know.
He passed away now.
He did.
You know,
yes.
he met Clive at a New York Pandora Weekend of Horrors.
Oh, really?
Oh, Clive! I have to talk to Clive!
At the Penta, across from Madison Square Garden.
I feel both very happy and very sorry for the people who saw that reunion.
No. Actually, Gilbert Gottfried is very, very sedate when he's walking around.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's very chill. I mean, you know, that's a persona.
Like Bobby Slayton. Bobby Slayton's a big horror fan. He loves Creature from the Black Lagoon. He's been on many podcasts, and we ran into him all the time at conventions. Yeah. And the Ramones.
Oh.
Like at Chiller Theater in New York.
It's funny when he turned the tape recorder on and it started playing piano music, and she goes, "What's he doing now?" I thought he was going to go, "He's playing music for some reason."
So, okay, this is 1959. When did they find LSD? I think they found it when that doctor...
20s or 30s.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
That's early.
And back, I Googled stuff and I researched. It looks like back when they made this movie, I don't think LSD was illegal at this time. It was still kind of a legal thing.
I think
like
it was controversial that it might be some kind of medicine, but yeah.
Just like how back in the day when Coca-Cola actually had cocaine in it.
Right.
Back in the day. He's just shot himself with LSD.
And Pepsi had some other drug in it too, didn't it?
They all had drugs, tobacco, everything was addictive.
Pepsi was laundering money for crack for the CIA.
Figures.
Look it up.
Wow.
And this is the first LSD trip ever put on cinema.
Wow.
Yeah, and then there was another one I think Roger Corman did with Peter Fonda.
Roger Corman. Yep.
Yeah. The Trip. That's the
And
name.
Bruce Dern.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce Dern is going to be your guy. So while you're on acid, he'll be your safety man.
Yeah. And after he got off that LSD trip, he went into space and got himself a little garden. Silent running.
3 little robots.
Yeah. That movie's so it's so depressing. It's so depressing.
Silent running. Unfortunately, the man who directed it just passed away recently. He's a
sorry to hear.
genius from 2001, and he directed.
Oh yeah. He did the Blade Runner.
Trumbull.
Yeah, Douglas Trumbull.
And Bruce Dern, he was recently, not too long ago, here in San Jose at a convention.
Oh, that's cool. I bet he's really old now.
Oh yeah, I think he's like 91 or something now.
He's getting the shakes.
He's going to start moving his hands and writing in the air. Just kidding. Bit of trivia. The first time I ever took LSD was September 8th, 1978.
Wow, down to the day, huh?
True confession.
I remember it. No, I remember it really well because I was home and my friend and I had dinner with my family. We had chili.
That's a good thing to go with LSD. Yeah, I got a little blotter paper.
The internet is forever, Nina.
Well, my mom was. I told my mom years later, and she always remembered that dinner, and she was like, "I knew something was up." She's like, "You were laughing at the bowl of chili, and there was nothing funny about that chili. Nothing funny."
And then you tried teaching the chili to talk.
As long as it don't talk back.
Wow. You're brave, honey. I would never admit to something like that.
Well, I already got in trouble.
You either one.
I think the statute of limitations is over on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you've listened to some of the episodes that I did with Ryan on the first and second year, you can probably tell some of those I was a tinsy bitsy high.
Having a couple of glasses of wine.
Not wine. But yeah, if I went on and on and on, I was like, man.
But I love that. I mean, why are we doing this if we're not going to go on and on and on?
Yeah. But see, the thing is, by the time I got to college, we were smart, and you would have to have somebody be your babysitter. So if like 4 of your friends were going to trip,
right? That's like
one of you had to be the babysitter.
That's like in that movie with Henry Fonda. Bruce Dern stays off the drugs so that he can be the man to keep Henry Fonda from going insane. Yeah,
you got to corral them up if they get out the door. You got to get them back in.
Peter, not his dad.
Right. It was back when they ritualized that whole thing with
Even Roger Corman took acid. I met him. He was here at a convention, a film festival in San Jose, and he admitted to taking LSD. because if he's going to direct a film or be involved in a subject like LSD, he's going to experience it.
Yeah, and you got
I bet William
shortly
Castle
after this
didn't take LSD because I've never taken it, but I'm pretty sure that it doesn't make you have waking nightmares every single time.
Yeah, right. No.
That's called a bad trip, man. Don't take the brown acid.
The barrel acid. But I do know that there are other drugs, even beyond LSD, that would make you have a definite psychotic.
Shrooms and stuff, right? Yeah. Psilocybin. I think now they've started doing a program for medical testing for psilocybin again, magic mushrooms. So there's hope for that yet. They're actually making legal research on that now. It's moving forward.
Have you read those Carlos Castaneda books?
No, I have not. But I've read some of Timothy Leary's poetry.
It's the ones that, they made like the movie Altered States based on, taking psilocybin mushroom mixtures with the Indians and all that.
I must say I'm surprised. I took it for granted, Jose, that you would have read Carlos Castaneda.
What?
I just took it for granted because he's very well read. You're very well read, Jose.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Kind of like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and stuff in my day in college. Everybody was passing books around.
Okay, yeah, I'll look him up. Paul Castaneda.
Carlos Castaneda.
Carlos.
Oh, Carlos. Yeah. Okay. Carlos Castaneda.
And there's like a trilogy of books that are all about the investigation of the peyote and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. When white Americans were going into like Mexico and trying out some stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to commune with the natives and stuff.
They were like, check out the Yankee tripping balls over there by the saguaro.
Right.
Right.
Have you seen Altered States, both of you?
I have.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite movies.
If you go in a one of those tanks, you turn into an ape.
Flotation sensory deprivation tanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one.
Hunter Biden had one of those.
I actually I had a masseuse that had a sensory deprivation tank, and I went in there one time, and so then I gave her a copy of that movie.
Oh, cool.
Altered States.
So
I love that.
You had one in your mom's backyard.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
it's
but
called an
you-
above ground pool. Thank you.
With a tarp over it.
Right. With goggles and earplugs. And,
Yeah.
They hotbox that shit, and you're good to go. So he just went upstairs because he went back to visit the gentleman that he met at the execution, and his wife has not been well since she passed out after seeing blood. So he's like, I'm here to check you over. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, you haven't even like bought her dinner yet.
Right. Right. And I mean,
Would you like me to check you over?
Where is your medical degree, dude? It's like, how are you coming in here acting like a doctor, a medical doctor, not a pathologist?
Wait, aren't they doctors?
Well, maybe, but in this film, it seems like he just works as a coroner for the county.
Well, that
Yeah.
makes him pretty well educated, though.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean he has a medical
Physician.
practice where he's allowed to write prescriptions and give injections to a stranger.
Yeah. Well, he writes a script for him, for the husband. He says, here, get her some of these sleeping pills,
Yeah, you
barbiturates.
mentioned that there's like a pharmacy or a drugstore downstairs around the corner or something.
But we
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
but he's definitely giving her LSD right now. Then,
Yeah.
so that's that's a pretty big step over the line.
You think?
Yeah.
Ever heard of the Merry Pranksters?
Oh, yeah. Here
Oh,
in San
yeah.
Francisco.
They went around like dozing people at parties.
Yeah,
was-
William Burroughs and Clive, they hooked up.
Yeah, but anyway, so here she is, and he's telling her to go to sleep, and of course we're all expecting that she's going to be tripping balls, but he's not there. He's actually going to leave. So I'm not sure how he expected to conduct his experiment. Maybe he was just hoping that.
Yeah, and the weird thing is, then the husband had all those masks and stuff, but he didn't know she was going to be high on LSD.
Right. It's
He
like
was
these,
just going for it.
that's the way these movies are. It's like, just like when Vincent Price was on the LSD in that room and it seemed to be sealed and they couldn't get in and they're looking through a window. And then all of a sudden, cut, next scene, he's fine. They're in the room with him. How'd they get in there?
Right. Well, I think he was just thinking that he could scare his wife to death. But
That would be
is-
pretty lame if he just ran up to her with a stupid rubber mask on.
I know, right? He's
expected her
really
to-
overplaying
Yeah.
his ability to scare someone.
bathtub full of red blood and an arm coming up out of it.
Yeah, but that
Yeah,
was
that's the LSD, right?
yeah. So,
No, that's real. Later on, they show, here's the arm prop,
You're getting ahead of yourself. That's at the end of the picture.
That doesn't matter. I mean, we can talk about everything.
Sure. So, yeah, this is where the lady is like, hey, the stuff he gave me is not making me sleep. So basically, I think her husband had gotten a bunch of props from William Castle for his theater and just used those to scare his lady.
There you go.
Because he's got the wired up rocking chair and he closes the window by itself and all that stuff. So that's a lot of work.
Yeah, and at this point, we're meant to believe that this is Vincent Price who had circled back around and
No, I don't think so. I think this is all the husband.
well,
No,
no,
yeah, I know.
it is the husband, but I think the
Yeah,
movie
I
wants
thought
us to
that
believe
too,
that it's
yeah.
Vincent Price's character.
Yeah, that he somehow got back into the apartment and was trying to
Yeah.
scare her.
Right, because everybody knows that Vincent Price is the master of macabre, and we know that he would be behind this
well,
mess.
because he just injected her with LSD, so you'd think he'd want to come back and finish his experiment.
Observe.
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad makeup. I mean, it's a little hokey.
Yeah.
But what's funny is that he must have went to the autopsy thing and met Vincent Price and asked for a ride home and everything, and had all this stuff prepped.
Yeah.
Well, he prepped it afterwards. I mean, this is supposed to be a few days after, right? And
that's moving pretty fast, to get all this stuff prepared.
Sure.
That's true.
But he admits himself later in the movie that once they talked about the Tingler and how he saw that the spine was crushed and there might be something that causes that, and he hears all this talk about releasing the tension, and he sees the lady pass out with the blood. So he's being educated by Vincent Price into this theory that someone can be scared to death because of the Tingler.
Yeah.
Right. And it would be, a very good murder because nobody'd understand how it happened.
Yeah. It
was funny how that arm was just showing her the axe. Like, look at this.
Yeah, it becomes more of a funny scene, the axe throwing by the hairy arm. It's like, oh no, Bigfoot is here.
Yeah, William Castle put through the kitchen sink in there.
Yeah.
And now he's in the bathroom sink. This is where you can tell here we're looking at a second generation optical composite because the quality degrades a little bit. And for some of the close-up shots, they actually painted a part of the wall gray to pretend like it's still black and white. But then for the rest, you can see that the image is a little worse in these parts where you can tell that there's a black and white composited with the red. Because that's probably
it's just amazing to me, though, that they were able to pull that off. It's so cool.
Sure.
Yeah, they used to hand paint frame by frame, to tint a movie that was only in black and white era. Even.
Yeah. In The Wizard of Oz, when they do the famous Technicolor change,
yeah.
Yeah, the whole set of the door before it opens is all painted in like black and white hues, right? Or sepia hues. And then when they open the door, the set behind it was colored. And
bright.
Yeah.
Oh, she's reaching out for her back. She feels the Tingler.
Yeah.
And there's a certificate.
Just happen to have one of these ready for you.
Hey, look at that. September 4th, 1913. Death certificate for Martha Higgins.
Yeah.
Cause of death, fright.
They don't have the date of her death. Come on, get with the program, husband.
And they did have these paper certificates and stuff at some of his films that you could fill out the insurance form and stuff,
And she's 46 going on 50. Well, actually 46 is going on 50. Because it said age 46, but she looks older than that.
Oh.
60. 46 going on 66.
Yeah. So that's a lovely house that they're going into. I like his little medical bag.
Here's the back door open.
Close.
Yeah, this is the part where he confronts his wife.
Yeah, I love Vincent Price as an actor. I mean, he can do just about anything. He can pull off these, jealous romantic husband scenes. He can play the scientist. He can play Torquemada. I mean, anything.
Oh, yeah. And he just saw the two glasses with drinks. He's gonna say to his wife, like, "Hey, as much as I like a double-fisted drinker, because."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she tries to play it off like, well, I might have made it for you.
And there's the tie clip. And she'd been putting her earring back on like she was a little disheveled.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were making out on the couch before he came home.
That's a good catch, Nina.
That's a
Yeah.
Yeah, a woman's gaze.
Yeah.
Oh.
And what's weird is I know this film so well, I don't even have to see all this stuff. I just remember it all.
Oh yeah.
This is the part where the movie starts falling apart a little bit for me. Like Doc, my wife died. I just brought her in the car here for you to check out. And it's like, okay, let's go
this is
downstairs
so hard.
and what? You guys, you're carrying a corpse in your car and you're taking it to some guy's house, and you know.
Oh,
And then
I
when
don't
you
understand
do-
why.
yeah, so he does have a car. Yeah.
Maybe his wife was driving it at the time. I don't know. Maybe his wife dropped him off at the execution and then went back to the movie theater. I guess I figured this one out, guys. I cracked it.
Yeah.
Plot hole.
She's like, you're on your own to get home.
There's all kinds of plot holes.
I'm sure William Castle would agree with me. He said, yes, that's what I wanted people to think.
If you think that, yes.
Yeah. Or it's a movie, who cares?
It's like, did you buy a ticket?
Yeah.
I remember hearing a person who came out of the film and he was talking to them, I don't know if it was this one or another film, but he said, would you allow your child to see this film? And she said, yeah, sure. And he said something about, like, well, okay. It's like he was surprised, that
Judge
this woman
much?
was so willing.
That reminds me, there's a YouTube video of a kid talking about Batman Returns, and he's complaining how he was so scared about the movie that he had to go in and watch it twice, and he was still scared. I'm like, come on, kid. He was talking in a show about violence in movies, and you can tell he was just, he might have been like a teenager, like maybe 12, 14.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, you can tell his parents told him to say that.
Scared of the penguins with rocket launchers on their backs?
Yeah.
He was saying that penguins. That there was a lot of violence against kids in that movie because, Anyway, if I find that, I'll send it to you guys.
What's funny about that movie with those penguins is my friend Jeremy worked on that, and he worked on a lot of those penguins and their little armor and stuff. And I have some little unpainted resin castings of these little breastplates with, like rivets on them and stuff for the penguins.
Wow.
Oh, the corpse just kind of set up and then back down very slowly.
Oh, sure. She's fine. Don't worry. It's still dead.
It's just air leaving the body. It's fine. My uncle was a driver. He was a chauffeur for a few years for the. No. He was a driver for the government, and he was a chauffeur for like a coroner, like a government doctor. I'm not exactly sure what his station was, but I know he was a chauffeur for like the ministries and stuff. And when I say ministries, I mean, ministers, like government, like prime minister, the minister of commerce, this, that. So he was a chauffeur for those officials. And one time he went to take a pathologist to certify a death. And, and the doctor told my uncle, okay, we're just checking to see if this guy's dead. Can you just stand on his chest? I was like, I prefer not to. I was like, come on, man, he's dead. Just stand on his chest. And he said, okay. So he had to stand on the guy's chest. And he told me that story. I was like, yeah, I said, never ask me to do this ever again. But I don't know if the doctor was just having a good laugh at my uncle's expense or what, but that seemed like a weird thing to do.
I'll get this guy. I'll get this guy tonight.
So this part I don't get either. I mean, she's been dead for a while, but she comes back to life at the end of the movie.
She's being puppeted by the Tingler. The Tingler is puppeting her spine. That's what I took it as. Yeah.
Body. He sewed it back into her.
The same way that he made her sit up now, because it's controlling, so it's bending the body by controlling the spine.
You think more people would have known about this besides Vincent Price then?
This is the part you were saying, right, Nina? That this autopsy is a little shady.
Shady. Sus. It's sus.
Yeah, especially because he does it just in shadow.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap, there's some lobster. We're going to get cracking tonight.
Zoidberg.
Get the butter.
And I like it that every time the Tingler is on screen, you hear like the thumping of a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, the heart.
It is the beating of his hideous heart.
The eye. his eye.
Vote
Yeah,
your
that's the other
eye.
thing about, like, I've seen in other movies where a doctor is trying to make sure that the body is really a dead person, not, that they're under something that makes them seem dead and stuff. And they get like a big long needle and they like jam it in their eye or in their throat or someplace. So
that's
they
a
couldn't
trope.
possibly hold still if they were not really dead.
Eye trauma. That's a trope.
And here he was like, Ollie had one job. He just had to get the tank and put it on the table. Way to go, Ollie.
He almost broke his arm. And then, of course, he screams and the thing falls over.
Yeah, there just happens to be a little hole in the wall, just right.
Oh, yeah, no, that's later. That's when they're...
I mean, can you imagine that thing being under your skin on top of your spinal cord and nobody would ever notice it?
Yeah, I think I would feel a tingling in my spine and I would scream a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scream for your lives.
But don't panic.
That's Douglas Adams.
So he's going to put that in a little reinforced metal cage.
He just happens to have a Tingler pet carrier.
A specimen.
He's putting it in his DJ box. He's going to take it to the concert.
Yeah, and that was his take two, right? Because the first one was supposed to be the glass cage that Ollie dropped on the floor.
Yeah, he wouldn't even fit in that little tiny aquarium.
Yeah.
And his wife seems suddenly very aroused at the sight of that thing.
So did she just put the LSD in there?
I think she put a tranquilizer.
Oh, it was a tranquilizer. Okay.
Yeah, she's going to roofie her husband. Because she's like, oh, this thing really hurt you, huh? Oh, this thing can kill a man? He's got the strength that could kill a man.
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah.
You can see the wheels turning in her head.
Boy, am I going to prank my husband tonight. Prank to death.
That's all right. I was going to carry my dead wife out. Thanks. I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people need this. Vincent Price, if he really is a doctor, just going to allow this guy, even though it's his wife, to pick up her dead body and just carry her away, and then he's going to believe whatever he says.
Yeah.
Guys, let's not forget, her back is probably wide open.
Right, so she would be bleeding all over.
It's like, well, that corpse doesn't
He's
really
had an
bleed,
autopsy done on her.
but it'd probably be like,
yeah,
try not to shake.
Gravity would make her bleed.
I guess, yeah, maybe a little bit.
And I mean, I hope he stitched her up real good,
Yeah, I don't think so.
Don't shake her too much or the stuffing will come out.
Yeah.
She's like a bag of potatoes.
Yeah, the actor who had to pick her up and stuff, her husband, I guess they had to cast each other so they make sure that he could do that stunt,
Sure.
And it's funny that she knew that he knew that she was going to be poisoning him or whatever, so they do like a double switcheroo on the glass.
Yeah, it's the Princess Bride.
Yeah.
You can't fool a Sicilian.
Yeah.
One little bit of trivia I found out when I was looking for this movie was that her sister and the fiance, which is Vincent Price's assistant, were actually a couple in real life.
Oh.
Yeah, they were actually they were fiance and fiance.
You mean Dave and the girl?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's interesting. Well, it's a lot easier to cast couples, or even on movies where two people aren't a couple, they sometimes hook up because the romance, if they're supposed to be a married couple or lovers or whatever, it really helps sell the acting.
Yeah, and then their relationship falls apart after the movie's over.
Yeah, or during. That's really bad.
Oh God.
Because then they can't stand each other, but they got to do love scenes and stuff still.
Yeah, I mean,
they're consummate professionals.
As soon as you see his wife getting all lovey-dovey and super nice, it's like, even he's like, yeah, I don't trust you.
I'm not buying it.
And here's Ollie Oxenfree calling to say, oh, doctor, I already called everybody. Yeah, we're all good.
Eyes roll back.
You
Yeah.
believe me? Boy?
He didn't need to call at all. He should have just left it alone. Why does he have to call just to tell him a lie?
Alibi.
Yeah.
I don't
One more part of his paycheck.
Yeah.
Man, people really like to walk around their house in suits, huh? As soon as I get
Yeah.
home, pants are off, baby.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
there he's got the mask and the knife.
Vincent
Yeah.
never left his bedroom without a full suit and tie and cufflinks and everything.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to wear this on the Halloween party. Speaking
so,
of which,
so here's where we're learning that the husband was behind all that. Because up to this point, when I
Yeah.
watched it, I thought it was Vincent Price's character that did all that.
yeah. So I don't see the blood arm. I see the hairy arm, the mask, the knife, and stuff like that. But I don't see. I think the blood LSD was really the LSD hallucination. The hand coming out of the bathtub. But the other stuff was the husband. Yeah.
Yeah.
He comes with the pet carrier with the Tingler.
Meow.
Bring your Tingler with you on the plane.
You know,
Yeah.
we lost a good chance to have the Tingler face off against the cat swatting it or something. That would have been a cool scene.
Well, yeah.
See the
and,
cat spitting at the Tingler.
Or have,
That
when
would have
she-
shown how
or
fake it was.
as soon as she opens it, it jumps out onto her face.
Yeah, they could have shot that in reverse, where it starts on her face and they yank it off, and then
Yeah.
Now it's coming up out of its box.
like the face hugger, basically.
It's like I smell humans. Oh, that's plop. Oh, you can definitely see. I'm seeing the
yeah.
wires.
Yeah, definitely.
And they try to mask one of the wires on the floor by having like the carpet edge on it,
yeah.
and then and it's like, ooh, shit, carpet. I'm gonna take a nap here.
Yeah.
Well, today's
Come on.
audience is so much more critical. I mean, back in the day, they're watching at some movie theater, eating popcorn, having a girl with your arm around her and stuff. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, the girl would be like, ew, that thing is so goopy.
Ed, do you remember Squirmels that was on a string? The little orange
Toy.
fuzzy toy.
Yep, like Furby.
I mean, I've been to scary movies with girls, and I have the scars in my arm to prove it.
Fingernails.
Swear to God, there was one that would just like, she would dig her nails into my arm and scream
Draw
Wow.
as
blood.
if the Tingler was in the theater,
Yeah.
like a wildcat.
Yeah, what was that?
Oh,
So
yeah.
when she walked in and she heard him like moaning, she just rolled her eyes at first. What did she think was going on?
The doc
then-
is choking his chicken in the living room.
Sex.
Yeah, of course, when she sees the Tingler, she screams, and that saves him.
Yeah, it falls down. It's like, man, I hate that. Why do people always do that?
It's got misophonia.
Yeah.
So he just had like a blowtorch in his hand while talking to his assistant. I think he was trying to destroy the monster.
Oh.
And this is the part where they say, yes, this can't
Yeah.
be destroyed, old chap. And yeah, we're not publishing this.
Yeah, now's when you need the acid, the battery acid, the disurgic.
Yeah.
You know, not the LSD, but the kind you dip with something in and it dissolves.
Yeah.
Muriatic acid.
Yeah.
That's like a mix of 3 different acids.
Ah.
Sulfuric.
Carbolic. Isn't there carbolic?
Carbolic is also, I think, a mixture. I'm not sure. But I know that I've worked with sulfuric acid and hydrochloric acid. And boy, don't drop that on your shoe.
Oh.
Yeah. It's like an
Because-
alien. Blood of the alien.
Yeah, molecular acid.
That's it. That's what they call it. Alien.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. All acid is molecular,
Well, everything is molecular.
right? When they say it's molecular acid, yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
Well, they're trying to make you think that it can break down any molecule, I guess.
Yeah. That's how I took it.
Yeah, so hopefully is like he's hoping that he can reimplant that in the body of Miss Higgins,
Yeah.
and
Just to
that
get
it would
To get rid of it.
to get rid of it. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of just taking it to the dump and throwing it.
Well, what if it starts breeding with other creatures? And
Yeah,
they
it becomes an invading species.
Yeah, half seagull and half Tingler.
Yeah, like the Tremors creatures that later got legs and wings and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's those guys' names? The
The graboids.
graboids. Yeah, I was going to say land sharks. That's another thing.
I've only seen the first Tremors movie.
Oh,
there's sequels.
And there's a TV show where those graboids get wings and mutate, and there's flying graboids, and there's like all sorts of weird stuff.
Yeah, they did one where it was about almost like a reality show where a guy, I think he was in Africa or South Africa, was out there hunting them and stuff. And
check him out. He killed his wife so he could rob like $400. That's not a lot of money. Are those?
I know.
ones?
I mean, what did they charge at the theater? Like 50 cents or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, a nickel. Like, he didn't even fill a suitcase of cash. It's just a couple of handfuls of cash. Like, yeah, you go, you big spender.
Yeah. He could have waited until the funeral was over. I mean, I think that money was legally his, right? He doesn't have to act suspicious about it.
Yeah, and he owned the building and everything. He could sell it.
Yeah.
Unless she left it to charity or something.
Yeah.
But I think that was the point. He said at one point, she tried to kill me several times.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, though. He opens his suitcase and sees the props and is like, you killed her. It's like, how do you know? Have you been watching the movie, Vincent Price?
Right.
Do you know that those hands and those masks were used to like what?
He could say like, oh, these are just left over from the theater company that was downstairs a month ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that doesn't belong to me. That belongs to William Castle.
Yeah.
Like, he left his wife on the bed.
Yeah, you.
I mean, we've all read the news of like, stuff that happens like, oh, the police went to this guy's house and he had a corpse of his wife for like 7 years in the same bed he slept on. It's like, oh, ugh.
Mummified corpse like Mother from Psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Tingler's escaping.
Oh, is it going down the hole in the wall now?
No, he's bending open the metal box because that thing is super strong. It's like, it's just biding my time. Could have gotten out of here anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you ever remember seeing an episode of Futurama where they had these like brain slugs that would get on your head and control you?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And then they just attach themselves to your head and turn you into a zombie.
Right.
Like in Night of the Creeps.
Exactly. They live inside you like Night of the Creeps.
Yeah. I saw
Or
that
so many.
Or that movie with those two aliens. One is a good alien, the other is a bad alien, and they're these creatures that inhabit the bodies. They come from space. You know what I'm talking about?
The Hidden.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah.
Jack Shoulder directed it, and Kevin Yeager did the effects.
Oh, cool. And there's also like kind of a bug-like creature that comes out of the mouth at the end. And,
See, Kevin Yeager made that head that you could stretch that face, that mouth really wide so that creature could come out.
Oh,
You couldn't do that to the actor.
Right. Well, you could, but yeah, it'd probably be...
break his... But that was one of the coolest things about that movie is that the translucent skin, the realisticness of that head, was beautiful.
Sure. Was it probably silicone, right?
Actually, no. I think he said it was gelatin.
Oh. When we had Midian Crosby in our latest episode, she was telling us about how they do certain kinds of like effects makeup, and she was talking specifically about prostate transfers. So that was like, prostate transfers. Yeah, that's how they...
Inslee.
Yeah, that's how they do the makeup effects for a character called Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy. They found a way applications that are self-adhesive and they stay on for a long time, and they feel just like skin. So
I make them myself, and I have a whole bunch of pizza boxes here full of them.
Nice.
I used them. The Walking Dead, when the very first episode hadn't aired yet, I was hired with my crew of effects people to do a bunch of zombie makeups, and we used those kind of prosthetics.
Oh, Midian Crosby also worked in
Yeah.
The Walking Dead. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
But he worked on the show. I only did a promotional event here in San Francisco.
Oh,
They, you know,
Okay.
before the premiere aired, they did, you know, all over the world, in Mexico, in New York, in San Francisco, in Tokyo, in Rome. They had makeup crews putting people in zombie makeups, and then they took them out on the street into the iconic places, like here in San Francisco. They went to Coit Tower and Golden Gate Bridge and stuff.
Oh,
and
that
the cable
that
car.
rings a bell. I think I remember seeing that in the news or on the internet.
That was my work,
Yeah.
my crew's
cool.
work.
Oh, that's awesome. So the Tingler just went into the theater, and everybody's eating popcorn and watching a silent film like it's the most interesting thing in the world.
The Tingler's kind of dancing to the music from the movie.
And there was a creep trying to put his arm all over his girlfriend, and she kind of switched seats.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. It's like the classic thing of what happens in a movie with a girl, you know.
He was getting fresh.
Yeah.
Like in that movie Mant. That's also kind of stuff you see in Mant.
Yeah. I think this is Tolerable David
Right.
that they're watching.
They're fighting over a bag.
And what's good about that up on the screen is that music is actually pretty exciting and fits the film as well.
Right. Yeah. Then they don't have to put their own music into the.
Right.
And the Tingler's gonna brush against the girl's leg, and I thought she was gonna be like, "Mike, I told you no," and then it's like, "Ah."
So
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like up on her shoulder, like he was coming around again and she was going to knock it down or something.
Yeah.
So I
It's
thought,
like, oh
with
my god, a cockroach.
with the original silent movies, that they would have an in-house piano player that would play piano for the
Right,
movie.
right.
So
Well, I
what
guess
were
this
they
is not
doing
that much of an old timey.
in 1959? Did they just have a record player that they played along with the movies?
No, I think this particular film might, if we research it, it might actually have a soundtrack for the release.
Okay.
Might have had the optical track on the silent film, because it might have been like a later copy, or sometimes. I mean, I've seen this, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, Ed. There used to be like a huge LP album that they would have for like the soundtrack of the entire movie, and they would play that in the theater.
For a silent film, yeah.
Yeah.
Here in the Bay Area, we've had these giant Wurlitzer pipe organs for big theaters like in San Francisco and in Oakland, like the Paramount in Oakland.
Oh, I love that that organ that they have in the Castro. What's that theater in the Castro?
Yeah.
That they have an old man who used to play this thing that comes off the ground on the main stage.
Yeah, it
And
was
then-
under an elevator kind of thing. It would
Yeah, I forgot the name of the thing. They do the Sketchfest there.
A mighty Wurlitzer organ.
Yes, a mighty Wurlitzer organ. Yes, thank you. Do you know what theater I'm talking about in the Castro?
Yeah, the Castro. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. I've been there. It was
We had a screening there with, you know, Creature from the Black Lagoon, the first Creature from the Black Lagoon, and we had Julie Adams, we had Ben Chapman, the guy who played the creature, and I
That's
was
awesome.
making a creature suit myself, and I brought it with me, and I brought my creature head and had him sign it.
So coming up here in a second, the Tingler's going to run across the front of the lens on the projector.
Yeah.
yeah, just
His debut.
Now
Yeah.
this is the whole point of the movie, to do that.
and this is like it becomes meta, right? Because it's like you don't know. So now this is like, oh, the audience is watching the movie. Now all of a sudden the Tingler is breaking the movie up for them, and it's
Yeah.
like Vincent Price. It cuts to black, and Vincent Price like, ladies and gentlemen, the Tingler's in
Yeah.
the theater.
Yeah, he's like talking directly to the audience.
Scream for your lives!
Please
We're
do
not actually showing you
panic.
anything scary, but this is where you scream on cue.
Yeah.
He also hired plants at screenings
Oh, to scream.
to get up
faint
and scream,
stuff.
yeah, and
And
pretend to faint, yeah. And then the fake nurses would take them out in the stretcher, and then a few minutes later they'd be coming surreptitiously back into their seats for the next
If
screening.
you just have one newspaper article appear in a local town when somebody fainting or whatever, it'd be worth thousands in
It's getting
publicity.
the projectionist.
Sure.
He screams.
Yeah, it almost gets them. That would have been me. I was a projectionist.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that creature from. Do you remember the movie The Relic? It had those pinchers, and it would decapitate people with them.
The Cathoga.
Yeah,
I like it how the door for the projectionist office says positively no smoking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because celluloid was flammable.
Right. They just trapped the Tingler in a reel box, in a metal reel box.
Yeah, I used to use those boxes all the time. I even have one of those.
Yeah. It's one of those octagonal boxes, right?
Film reels fit in those.
I bet you the Relic wouldn't look very good if we tried to watch it now.
Oh,
You know, with the
CGI.
early CGI and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen it not too long ago. It looked fine.
Oh, really?
Stan Winston Studios designed it, and they did sculpt a practical creature.
It's a Peter Yams movie, I think.
Hirons. Yeah, Hirons.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Well, and like Jurassic Park and Alien 3 hold up pretty well because it's a mix of CGI and the practical.
Sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Stan Winston did them as well. Yeah, I have a model kit of the Cathoga. They made a vinyl model.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
Golden paint, I'll tell you what.
it's like the Tingler oscillates between looking pathetically helpless and at the same time, in other occasions, like super threatening and powerful.
Yeah, like lunging at your head or throat or eyes or something.
Well, I wouldn't say
you can
lunge.
just grab it and move it around with your hands, and sometimes it'll kill you.
Yeah, I thought Vincent Price did a good job with it when he was handling it.
Oh, Nina, look at that. In record time, huh? He already stuck it back in there and sewed her back together in like 5 seconds.
Another drop of blood.
He just put his gloves on, talked to him, he turned around, and now he's taking his gloves off.
Yeah, that's like in Marvel Comics when somebody's falling and they're doing like a big long speech while they're falling.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Youngblood.
Or like in Spider-Man where he shoots a web and stops someone from falling, but it would still break their neck or snap their spine.
I think that happened in...
Gwen Stacy, I think. Or something.
Wait, are you saying Gwen Stacy died because the Tingler broke her spine?
Ah!
Crack the case, Johnson.
Yeah, that's right.
No, Doc Octopus.
Yeah, I remember when they used to do those alliterated names like Octo Octavius.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's Stan Lee for you.
Well, yeah, and they have to sort of address those in the movies, and it's always kind of awkward. It's like, really, that's your name?
That's Mr. Pretentious. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, here's
Doctor Strange. Okay.
Well, it's Stephen Strange.
Yeah.
Stephen Strange. Yeah.
And here's the wife standing up.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminds me. Do you know the Edgar Allan Poe story "Thou Art the Man"?
No. I know the hot rod one you were talking about on that.
Yeah, so that's a story where the guy rigs up a body to stand up in his coffin and have the killer admit to having been the killer.
This is a little bit of a Tales of the Crypt type of an ending.
Oh, I got a Tinkler of my own. Oh, you mean a Tingler? Sorry. They should put like a question mark on the end.
Yeah, oh God.
Or have a Tingler question mark kind of crawl on the...
Yeah, like, will there be another Tingler?
Have the Tingler crawl across the end thing.
I
do not recommend the credits because there aren't many credits.
I do not recommend it, but on YouTube you can find a fan film made called The Return of the Tingler. So don't watch it. It's a short, but it's not very good.
It exists.
Not very good.
So are we putting that in the show notes or not?
No.
It's not recommended.
No. So that was a Tingler. What did you guys think?
Oh, I love it.
I thought it was great. It was fun.
I liked it. And Vincent Price, he wasn't as campy as he is in a lot of other movies. He was playing it a bit straight.
Yeah.
He's a scientist.
Right. But he's a little straighter than...
Hey, scientists have fun. Yeah, I liked it. I liked the way that he was a kind of a shady character, a little,
He's
very
sus.
cold in certain, especially like when he has a gun pointed at him here near the end, and he's like, just walks away like, yeah, you're not going to shoot me. Like, and he just walks out of the room like, I'm a cool guy. I'm too cool to be scared of a gun. I'm too grown up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this put me on that rabbit hole of watching a bunch of his movies, and it's a fun schlocky body of work.
Yes.
Yeah,
I like it.
Watch
Scream for your lives.
That's not a good Vincent Price.
You gotta have a list.
Now the kids these days, they just take it for granted. They go to those theaters with the fancy seats and get,
Sense around and
Hey, you got those seats at special IMAXs, right? Where they got what they call it, VX or whatever. It's like those seats that kind of like
they move.
turn a little bit and move and whatever. So hey, William Castle was a man ahead of its time.
Yep. And
I
then,
think there's one in Dublin actually.
and then they did the ones where they had like mists would spray in your face when you're going down a waterfall or something.
Oh, I've seen that in Orlando's Disney World, Daffy Duck theater or whatever, where you go in there and it's like they're going through like a waterfall or whatever cartoon thing, and the seat in front of you sprays a little bit of water on you and smells and stuff.
Yeah, Douglas Trumbull is one of the people that invented all that stuff.
Oh, there you go.
He was
Awesome.
really big on all these techniques to make movies bigger and better, like 70 millimeter and surround sound and all that kind of stuff. He'd build those the domed screen theaters to practice and experiment how to make movies like that. Like
I remember hearing about the IMAX when it was like the early 90s, and I'm like, wow, that sounds amazing.
Oh,
but
yeah,
before that you had
we
like
had one of those
72 millimeter.
We had one of those at the Pacific Science Center, one of those dome-shaped ones, and the projector was like the size of a Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah, and it was an incredible theater.
Yeah.
But too expensive to have them in every little town,
Right.
But now we have the virtual goggle headsets.
Oh, sure, yeah. Now we can we can be
VR.
immersed in our experiences. Who knows? Maybe in the future movies will be there'll be a first VR movie. You put the headset and it's like you're inside the movie. That would be an interesting experience.
I don't think I would like that, because I would always feel like if I'm looking one way that I'm missing out on whatever's happening the other direction.
Yeah, you'd just be spinning around like a top. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it depends on where they would focus the action and stuff. So you
that's
eventually
a
just
whole
focus
new
on.
way of writing and directing and making movies.
Yeah. So
And that James Cameron is trying to do with these new Avatar movies and stuff.
yeah, so there's I kind of fell out of the Avatar stuff, but I remember seeing Avatar in IMAX on like 3D and stuff, and it was a great experience. It wasn't the first one. I mean, the first 3D movie I saw was The Creature in the Black Lagoon with the Anaglyph 3D with the red and blue.
Yep.
And I saw the 13 Ghosts today while I was at work, being paid to watch William Castle movies. I don't think they listen to my podcast. But it was a completely black and white copy, so I kind of missed out on the whole Illusiono vision that...
Right, because it requires the visor thing.
The visor that had two different visors, right? One was for the red, one was for the blue. One would make the ghosts appear, and the other one would make the ghosts disappear if you were getting too scary.
You put the visor away from your eyes and they disappear. So when you put it up, you'd see blue ghosts and red ghosts. There's one red lens, one blue lens, but some blue ghosts, some red ghosts. It depends,
Oh.
Wait, the one I saw had two visors, one on top of the other. So it was like a cardboard piece with two rectangles. So you could look through one to see the ghosts, and then you could look through the other to make them disappear because they were made in the same color. I don't know. I guess that must have depended on
the second one was
whatever
called
screening.
Mover.
Yeah.
You just
Right.
make it in your face.
It was just on the YouTube video.
I think
Yeah.
the last 3D movie I saw that was like that was Freddy's Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with the 3D.
Yeah.
Where the glasses are actually in the movie,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
She puts on the glasses
Yeah.
and...
Picks them up and puts them on, and now it's 3D.
Yeah,
The
and
Stardust.
it was so gimmicky. They'd be like, "Oh, check out this knife," and go, "Whoa," and point it at the screen.
Yeah, that was the thing about 3D that was pretty
You know what's cool? Like a short time ago, I bought from Goodwill like Jason 3 in 3D, and inside the DVD box there were still the Jason goggles in there. That was awesome. They were still in the package.
Yeah, that means
like
whoever
sealed
bought
cellophane.
that. So it was a brand new.
Well, the glasses were still in cellophane. It was a used
Oh.
DVD, so they never used it. Can you believe it? That's cool. Yeah. So what's coming up next, Ryan?
We've got more news and interviews episodes. We've got Jericho Squad 77, hopefully soon. And our next letter is the letter Y for our A to Z commentaries. Y for year 0. And we'll be covering the movie From Hell, which I have never seen.
Oh,
Why?
really? Yeah. We got that one on DVD.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's from Alan Moore comic book.
Yeah, it's based on-
So that chapter is all about Alan Moore.
Oh, speaking of which, before I did this today, I just got off the Fathom Events Riff Tracks Live. I was watching Return of the Swamp Thing, and holy crap, I was looking at that movie, and it's so bad. And I was like, this was made while Alan Moore was revolutionizing comic books by writing Swamp Thing. And they made this movie. It's like one of the jokes was, if you listen carefully, you can hear Alan Moore curse this movie. Okay, so year 0, Alan Moore's From Hell.
Yeah.
I guess Alan Moore doesn't want to be associated with the movies, so just From Hell.
Yeah,
It's a good one. I really like that one.
we're almost
It's got,
through all
it's
the
got
letters.
Bilbo. It's got
Yeah, we're
Bilbo.
almost through all the letters, yep.
What was that, Ed? It's got.
Bilbo starring as the villain.
Oh, really?
Bilbo Baggins.
Ian Holm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not-
He will always be the android to me.
Oh, yeah. Right. From Alien.
So do you guys have any recommendations for more William Castle movies?
Oh, definitely House on Haunted Hill, and the remake, which is beautiful with Jeffrey Rush and Jeff Coombs. And Jeffrey Coombs plays this crazy mad scientist guy, and the house is on top of this vast, like maze of medical junk underneath it, and it's just like the original, where you get a bunch of people and you trap them in place, and if they don't get out and they live, they get $1 million or something. And I liked it. It's got these fantastic sculptures done by KNB that I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but there's a guy from Europe who would take dead bodies. It's like you know how in the more recent times they made human bodies in plastinization, where they were all thinned and spread out and everything.
Yeah, that German guy.
Right. Fragonard was the name of the man who did it for real, in Europe. But KNB recreated a bunch of those, like a horse with a man on it. And those are all in the new House on Haunted Hill. I love that stuff.
I guess I got to watch that because I never saw that. But wow, Jeff Coombs playing a mad scientist, you say? Breaking new ground.
A scratch for him.
What a tour de force.
He plays a great one.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So this was a lot of fun. Thanks for listening to the podcast with us. I hope you enjoy the movie. I hope you get into more William Castle stuff. Let us know. Send us an email or drop a comment. Like and subscribe our YouTube channel.
And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have subscribed. You can find the Clive Barker Podcast wherever you find audio. Show notes for this episode, as well as news and reviews, can be found at our website at www.clivebarkercast.com. The Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial podcast and blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans. Watch for our annual Kickstarter fundraisers to get some cool stuff, and you can buy t-shirts on our TeePublic store. Go to tpublic.com and search for BarkerCast.
Thanks for listening.